Ruto-Sakaja was saved from an impeachment by the broad-based partners, that is President William Ruto and the late Raila Odinga. Sources, however, say that Sakaja was faced with another impeachment threat this month, forcing him to surrender some of the functions that we know of. It has been quashed by the courts. Udole Brenda reports on what is in the deal and how the county government of Nairobi got here.
Nairobi, you up? Sakaja must go. You up? Sakaja must go.
September 2025. A meeting between the late Raila Odinga and 6 Nairobi County Assembly leaders saved Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja from an impeachment motion that had been signed by more than 80 members of the County Assembly. The meeting, that was also attended by former MPs, was to find a common path. UDA MCAs would later head for a meeting in State House, and the broad-based government saved the then embattled governor. Months later, and the clouds are said to have gathered, forcing the county boss to throw in the towel. On Tuesday, President William Ruto unveiled an 80 billion Kenya shillings cooperation between the national government and the Nairobi City County government.
The functions bestowed upon the county government of Nairobi by the Constitution will remain county functions. We shall not transfer any functions.
On Tuesday, President William Ruto unveiled an 80 billion Kenya shillings cooperation between the national government and the Nairobi City County government. The agreement is aimed at making the capital city more livable for its 4.4 million citizens by improving lighting, water supply, and road and sewer networks. 3.7 billion Kenya shillings will go towards street lighting modernization and expansion, including the completion of 10,000 light points and the installation of 40,000 new ones. The national government, in conjunction with Kenya Power, will invest 1.5 billion in transformers and proper last-mile connections in the city's informal settlements. On water, he said the national government will invest 2.1 billion Kenya shillings at Ngedo treatment plant to stop daily losses of about 50,000 cubic liters. On security, he directed Interior Cabinet Secretary to prepare and present within 60 days a framework for a dedicated Nairobi Metropolitan Police Unit.
We want to look at how do you reorganize Metropolis and how do you provide their security? What are the additional security equipments, additional security infrastructure, including cameras that are supposed to be used in the city? What kind of vehicles are required in a city police? Another 3 billion Kenya shillings will go to the Girigiri-Shaurimoyo evacuation corridor to stabilize and extend water supply to high-demand zones. President Ruto announced that the national government is committing 9 billion Kenya shillings to build 2 parallel 27-kilometer trunk sewer networks along the Nairobi River corridor and 6 billion Kenya shillings for a new sewer plant that will treat 60,000 cubic liters of wastewater a daily. Another 3 billion will support last-mile sewer connectivity, while 15 billion shillings is set aside for long-term sewer expansion across the city. The government has allocated 8.7 billion Kenya shillings towards roads, bridges, and the city's drainage network. Out of these, he pointed out, 2 billion Kenya shillings will go to complete phase 1 of Kura roads within the next 2 months. The president said the government will enhance road networks in every ward, and our 5 billion Kenya shillings mobility and safety program, complemented by 3.7 billion Kenya shillings from the county government. A further 1 billion Kenya shillings is dedicated to drainage improvement, he said. The county government will set aside 100 acres for material recovery facilities, 4 transfer stations, and set aside 4 billion Kenya shillings, while the national government will provide 2 billion Kenya shillings. On Wednesday, President Ruto was in Nairobi's Lucky Summer area and other areas where he expressed satisfaction at the progress of the cleanup of Nairobi River.
Sikia bwana, hapa tunawajengea vile vile manyumba, na ni nyumba ambayo wewe mwananchi wa kawaida utaweza kulipia. Nairobi hoye!
The president, accompanied by leaders from Nairobi, would later tour other parts of the city.
Nairobi lazima ibadilike, iwe na standard ya juu, ndio tushinde zile zingine. Munataka Addis Ababa itushinde? Munataka Lusaka itushinde?
Tulimuona watu wameanza porojo. Mimi sijapeana mamlaka yoyote kwingine. Mimi nashirikiana na rais. Tushirikiane ama tuachane?
Mimi nataka niwaambie watu wa Nairobi, mkiona wale watu wengine wanakaribia jiji na wana maono, muambie warudi nyumbani.
Critics argue that the move is similar to the Nairobi Metropolitan Services NMS under the previous government.
Ati nipange kichele, niweke mawe.
Muthoni Brenda, for TV 47.
Many thanks indeed, Muthoni Brenda there, very comprehensive. But they always say the devil is in the details. We want just to find out why a lot of ambiguity and why a lot of fog hanging around this particular deal. And also we learned today of the latest developments from the courts as well. So let's look deeply at what is in this particular deal. Just to run you by what we do have. First of all, we have the parties promising that they will collaborate in refuse collection, management, and solid waste disposal. Also, they will concentrate on development, maintenance, and improvement of county roads, non-motorized transport and steering and street lighting. Also, planning and development of markets, housing-related infrastructure and development needs, provision of water and sanitation services. Right? That is a broad overview. We want to see also what happens when it comes to governance structure and committees. So we have a steering committee and will be led by the Prime Cabinet Secretary, who shall be the chairperson. We have also the Governor of Nairobi, who shall be the vice chairperson, followed by the Attorney General and also the County Attorney. All right, let's move on speedily and we look at still on the governor's structure. We have also the Cabinet Secretaries responsible for Interior and National Administration. We also have Treasury and Economic Planning, Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development. We have Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, and Energy and Petroleum. We want to see now where the Implementation Committee will come in as well. And the Implementation Committee shall be responsible for the technical, operational, and administrative execution of this agreement. And it goes on to say it shall comprise of the Governor of Nairobi, who shall be the chairperson. Also, we have the Solicitor General. It's not tripping off my tongue very well. Also, a representative from the Executive Office of the President, and the CEC from Nairobi County Government responsible for corresponding functions. And we have also the County Solicitor. We move on and we see the rest of the list. We have Principal Secretaries responsible for the National Security and National Administration, the National Treasury, Housing and Urban Development, Roads, Environment, Water and Sanitation, and Energy. Also, we do have, I mentioned the Solicitor General. Yes, that's basically is the whole structure of how this particular deal is looking like. And I know for most of us, maybe it's going way over our heads. But we have our guests already in studio. We shall also be looking keenly on this just to get an understanding from their perspective what is happening currently. I'm now joined by Bernard